I'm going to be showing you guys today how to make these 5 foot by 18 inches wide raised garden beds. They're raised a little bit off the floor. And on this cut list that I made for you guys, I messed up. It's going to be 10 strips at 1 inch and 3/4, not 8 of them. So you guys can go ahead and screenshot that. You're going to need about 9 pickets total. You might be able to get away with doing it with 8. But I always throw in an extra one or 2 in there just in case I mess something up, because if you're like me, you're not perfect, and I always mess something up, make a wrong cut here and there. So that's why I always like to get an extra board. But I'm setting up my shop this morning, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I always still do park cars in this garage, so I do clean up after every session. Try to keep it clean, try to keep it organized. But thank you guys, like I mentioned, for watching my video, coming back to my channel. If you're returning, if you're brand new to my channel, I appreciate you for being here. I'd like to show you guys what I know, pass down the knowledge for you guys, but nonetheless, let's get started. I always start together. If you saw my previous videos, I always slap together a couple pieces just so I can get them all cut at once on my miter saw. But before I do, as you can see that I'm doing there, I always square off the ends, because these cedar pickets, they never come square, or they never come all the same length. Some of them are always like a couple eighths bigger or shy, definitely out of square. So before I make any cut, before I even put my tape onto a board and pull my number, I always make sure that I square off the stack or square off the piece that I'm gonna cut. And right here, guys, I am adding an extension to my miter saw on the wings there. I add a board on there and I clamp it down to the fencing of my miter saw, and I go ahead and I cut that board. And then, as you saw there, all I have to do really is hook my measuring tape in the slit that my miter saw made in that board and pull a number, and then I can add a stop block, as you can see there. And what that stop block allows me to do is put my stack right up to it and cut it precisely every single time. This really helps, guys, if you're got a big order and if you had to cut a lot of pieces. In this case, I'm building 3 of these planters. By the way, that cut list is only for one planter. So if you're building multiple, obviously multiply those numbers by however many planters you are building. But the reason that I like to add the stop block is because I do have big orders sometimes, and I do need to cut a lot of pieces at once precisely. And in this case, these short sides and the bottoms are all going to be about 15 inches, and I needed a good amount. I needed about 45, I think was what I needed. So I did add the stop block. And right here, guys, I'm showing you guys how I cut my strips down for my legs and my top trim. I do not have a table saw, so if you don't either, this might be a great option for you. But after that, I go ahead and I'm going to start cutting down those strips down to leg size. I did move my stop block right on over to 17 inches. And like I mentioned, guys, that just allows me to cut precisely every single time. But I'm just getting my count right here, getting ready to start slapping everything together. Get you a cat's paw, get you some pliers, just in case a nail gets redirected in the grain of the wood. So I like to keep that around. Like to start off with a full bottle of some Tight Bond glue. Got some 1-inch brad nails right there, and I like to keep them right there in my stool just so I don't have to get up. Sometimes I'm in a roll. Sometimes yeah, I just want to keep going. I don't want to stand up. Keep everything close. Keep all my materials tight right here. Just because I like to produce quickly. I like to be quick. Sometimes, I got a lot of stuff to do. But right here, showing you guys the Construction Master Pro, because I like to add that center leg. And I really could do a bunch of tricks to find the center of the 4 foot 10.5, but I got a Construction Master Pro, and as you can see there, 2 foot 5 1/4 was the center of my my long side. So what I do here is I go ahead and I mark 2 foot 5 1/4, and that's going to be the center of my middle leg. And once I get that mark down, I go ahead and square it off, as you see there. Square it off down on both sides, and what that line represents is basically just the line that I'm following with my glue. So right there, I'm going right over that scribe line, and then I go ahead and add my legs. Now, for this part, you're going to want to get together 2 of those 4 foot 10.5s, as you see there. I like to clamp them together just so that while I'm putting it together, it's not moving up on me. And don't worry, guys, I know I'm moving kind of fast here, but I'm going to show you this process a couple more times. I'm going to also show it to you in the POV version. But I like to add the legs. I add 1 nail per picket per leg. I go ahead and flip it over, and I add more nails to the inside of the planter there. I don't want to add too many to the outside just to keep the nail holes minimal. But once you do that, you're going to go ahead and flip it onto the side. Just like my other videos, guys, these planters are basically built in the same standard. But you're going to go ahead and flip it to the side, add some glue as you saw that I did there. Add another leg, flush it to the back side, make it like an L-shaped leg. Go ahead and repeat the process for the other side. And go ahead and nail them in, guys. If you guys do not have a nailer, you can always go ahead and use a hammer and nails like I used to do. I got exterior 1-inch nail shanks, and I use my cat's paw, or you can use a hammer. And there goes one of those panels that we are building today. I'm going to be building 6 of those because I'm building three planters. So however many planters you want to build, you're going to be building two panels per. And here, guys, I just show you the same process one more time in this different angle. I know this camera looks like I had like a filter on it. I'm not a professional editor or video shooter. I'm a builder, guys, so I apologize if sometimes the quality is off. But yeah, guys. And here again, I show you guys how I got the center of my legs, 4'10" and a half, divided by 2 foot 5 1/4. So that's what I marked there. Scribe it off, square it off, both sides. I add my glue and I get my leg slapped on. But like I mentioned, guys, 2 boards clamped up together, flush on each side. And you go ahead and add the legs, and you repeat this process until you have as many panels as you need for the planters. Go ahead and add in my leg there. I'm going to show you guys this process one more time in the POV just so you guys can get it down. But like I mentioned, guys, these are all really built in the same standard. I'm going to be working on some new designs, some new planter styles for you guys to go ahead and check out and follow along. But I do have a lot more sizes and dimensions that I would like to share with you guys, so stay tuned for that. I really appreciate you guys for watching. But nonetheless, now I got all my panels ready to go. I'm gonna be slapping them all together. So I grabbed 2 at a time. I left a little lip in there on the inside of the planter for some glue, and that's where I'm gonna put my 15-inch pieces. And I'd recommend that you guys also get a couple clamps ready to go for this part, because as you see there, it doesn't want to stand up. It's kind of big, so you got to lean it on something. But once you get it all tied up, I get those 15-inch pieces flush to the top, and then I squeeze my clamps tight and nail it up. Repeat the process for the other side. Go ahead and flip it on over, guys. I'm trying to keep it very simple for you guys to go ahead and build. It's not as difficult as it looks. Once you guys practice this, it's really fairly easy. It's really easy money. You guys can make a lot of money doing this, or save a lot of money doing this, building your own planters. But like I mentioned, guys, 15-inch pieces. Put some glue on the inside lip there. Make sure you're flush on the top. As you can see there, I'm making sure it's flush with my cat's paw. I'm kind of banging it till it's flush with the planter. Go ahead and tighten up the clamps. And I slam in 3 to 4 brad nails on each picket on each side, just to ensure strength. But after that, guys, you're gonna grab your 1/2-inch strips, lay down your planter, and you're gonna hold those 1/2-inch strips from inside to inside long ways, and you're just gonna go ahead and mark that and go ahead and cut it, as you can see that I'm doing with my miter saw there. These are gonna be little ledgers for the bottoms of the planter to sit on, just because just to support dirt weight, you know. So I go ahead and I add some glue to that 1/2-inch strip, and I lay it flush to the bottom piece picket of the planter, and I go ahead and nail every 3 to 5 inches. And I go ahead and I repeat the process for the other side. Nail on the 1/2-inch strip, flush down to the bottom, nail it on up every 3 to 5 inches. And just like that, guys, you got yourself a planter with no bottoms. So we're gonna go ahead and add some glue onto that ledger that you just added to the top of it. You're gonna go ahead and grab, I think it's 9 to 10 pieces for the bottom, and you're gonna be left with a little gap. And you're gonna have to cut this down. I don't have a table saw, so what I do is I see what I'm working with. I measure it with my tape, and I cut it with my circular saw. I do not recommend cutting like this with your circular saw, guys. It is not safe. Only reason I do it is because I've worked in construction for years, and we worked with circular saws on the go every single day, and that's how we would cut, unfortunately. But if you don't have a lot of experience with a circular saw, I recommend you clamp it down and go ahead and cut it. I'm sorry, I'm not practicing what I preach, guys, but I will just give you a verbal not warning, right? But I want you guys to be safe. So go ahead and clamp it down, cut it, do it safely, guys. Next, I'm going on to this top trim. I grabbed two of those strips, and I just start off by cutting a 45-degree angle on them, just like that. And right there, I cut with my miter saw, and I had turned the vacuum on, but the vacuum wasn't even hooked up to my miter saw. Real smart, huh? But anyways, as you saw right there, I held one 45-degree angle to one corner, and then I marked the other corner. It's real simple, guys. You don't have to pull out your tape for this. This is probably the easiest part. It's just holding it from corner to corner and then marking the piece. And don't worry, I will show you guys this process one more time, of course. I'm building 3 of these planters. So I got a bunch of clips. You guys do not have to watch the whole thing. It's pretty repetitive, but I just show you guys in different angles. But I really appreciate you guys for even watching and giving me a chance, giving me a shot to share what I know with you guys. This is something new to me. So I also apologize if I'm not going over everything correctly. But yeah, guys. So once you guys got all those top trim pieces mitered, you're going to go ahead and add some glue to that top rim. You are also going to add glue to that middle leg on the top right there, because we are going to flush up that top trim piece to the outside of those legs. So boom, nail right there, flush to that middle leg, flush to that corner right there, and that's it, guys. Get your next piece right there, hold it right onto the corner to corner. Each mitered point just goes right on that corner, guys. I know this was a little confusing for me as well at first, but this is after doing it for a little bit, this is probably the easiest part of the whole build. It takes only a couple minutes, and I like to keep the nail holes minimum, so I like to only add a nail in the corner. And if this is a 5 foot stretch, so I will add a couple nails in that middle. So I'll add a nail in that middle leg, and then one right next to it into that 4, 10.5. And then some in between in the middle of the middle. So each of these top trim pieces is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nails. Finishing off this planter right here with some 9/16 drainage holes that I have a bit for my impact there. And just like that, guys, that planter there is done. Go ahead and grab my little towel. I recommend you guys keep around a little roll of paper towels in your shop, because you always do get that squeeze out. And also, if you are working on a planter and you set it to the side and then start working on something else, some of that glue squeeze out will still come out like 30 minutes after. So watch out for that. But here, guys, like I mentioned earlier, I do show you this process one more time. I speed it up a little bit just because I know you guys saw this already, but I'd like to show you guys in the POV. Yeah, guys. So those panels, 6 of those panels. Once you got your panels ready to go, you're ready to start slapping your panels together. Nail on the inside. Glue on the inside. 15-inch pieces there. By the way, guys, all those short sides on the bottoms will always be the same size because they always run in the same direction. So really, if you're building a planter in a different dimension, just account for long sides, short sides, and bottoms are the same length, and then legs and top trim, and your 1/2-inch strips. May be a little bit overwhelming to think about, but really, when you think about it, it's not a lot of components that are going into these planters. I really just determine my sizes like upon those what I just said. The long sides, the short sides, bottoms. Short sides and bottoms are always the same. So I'm only really worried about a couple dimensions: long side, short side, which is also bottom, and legs and top trim. And now for the legs and the top trim, guys, I always pre-cut a bunch of them because I don't like I mentioned, I don't have a table saw, and I don't like setting up everything to cut those strips. I don't know if I showed you guys earlier how I do that. I set down 3 pieces of 2x4. I have to set up my vacuum. I got to pull out my saw. So it's just inconvenient if I'm in the middle of a build to set all of that up when I already have things on the table. It's not as easy as the miter saw. So when I do get a load of lumber, I always will pre-cut a bunch of top trims and legs. And I just leave them at the 6 foot length. And when I'm ready to go, I just cut them down to size, as you saw earlier in this video. But right here, I'm filling in that piece right there, cutting it with my saw. Like I mentioned, guys, I have experience with the circular saw. So if you do not, I don't recommend you cut the way I'm cutting. I recommend that you clamp it down and cut it safely. And now before I nail up those bottom pieces, I like to clamp up the bottom of the planter just to keep it tight. And go ahead and nail it on up. I put 2 nails on each side into that ledger down there that we set for ourselves. All right, just like that, guys. Beautiful. Next one, this is the top trim part right here. So here we go one more time, guys. I just start off by cutting the 45-degree angle there. I set 2 on top of each other just to keep it efficient. Right there, boom. Hold it from one corner to one corner. Sometimes you get a piece that's bowed. That's all right. We're gonna straighten it out right now. Get that other side cut. I always just go all the way around and then I glue everything up together. So right here, I'm just cutting the rest of the pieces for that top trim. Short sides right there. Get it all ready to go. Boom, hold it, mark it. No tape, guys. A lot of people in my comments on Instagram were like, oh, it would take me hours to do those 45-degree corners. Guys, these are easier than the whole build. But like I mentioned right there, guys, glue, hold it. And you're going to see right here, I nailed down to that middle leg and into that 4 foot 10.5. And right there, my thing was bowed. But it's all good. Nail in the corner, one in the middle, and you're ready to go. Now, these planters are amazing for entryways, guys, for whatever it may be along the wall. These are great for planting food. They're great for lasting forever. This cedar is great stuff for being in the elements. It's rot resistant and it's weatherproof. Obviously not warp proof, but it does very well just as is. And plus, a lot of people like using these planters for growing food. And most people don't want any chemicals onto the wood. They don't want any sealant, no stain, because they don't want to be contaminating their food. So I normally sell as is. I disclose that these are not sealed or protected. But it's not a crazy solution to go ahead and seal them yourself. So if a client asks me, I always do just let them know that if they do want to protect the wood even longer, really they sell a couple of cans for like about $10 or less of spray seal, and you can go ahead and spray them down and make them last forever. But I was done right there, and I made them hater proof. The glue wasn't even dried yet, and I'm still standing in them. I'm 200 pounds, guys. These are great. I was also delivering them, so I went ahead and I threw them up on my car, and I also charged delivery fees. I made close to $400 on this order right here, guys. I'm going ahead and I'm ratchet strapping them down because I have learned the hard way. Yes, guys, I have dropped a planter before, unfortunately. So I always overkill. It's better safe to be sorry, and I have learned that the hard way, like I mentioned. But I go ahead and I crank these down, guys. And this is just 2 of the planters, so I will be throwing the third one in the middle on the top of these. I know it looks a little sketchy, but that's why I always overkill on the straps, just because I'd rather be safe than sorry. But right here, I'm wrapping up the slack, roll it up, throw it behind the existing part, roll it on up, and it's not going nowhere. It stays tight just like that. But if you guys were thinking about making some of these, I really recommend you do. It's a lot of fun. It's real simple once you get the concept down. But I will throw in the description down below a link to the tools that I use in my shop. Also, I really appreciate you guys if you subscribe, like, share, comment. It really helps me out. But I was off on my delivery there, and here I go, send them down from my customers, my wonderful customers. And these are the pictures they showed me, guys, right here. But nonetheless, guys, I appreciate you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next tutorial. Thank you, guys. Later.